time for coffee. Talk presented by Spotify. Fresh vibes, real talk.
Let's get started, shall we?
Yeah.
Good morning, everyone. Welcome back to Coffee Talk in the Morning, presented by Spotify. This episode is sponsored by Battle of Atlanta 2026, which is going on tomorrow and Saturday. Check out K.L.P. Entertainment Filmworks social media for more. Okay, so here's something wild. By 2034, analysts predict there could be over 2 million delivery robots operating worldwide. That's not just a few quirky machines rolling around. That's a full-on robotic takeover of our sidewalks.
Oh wow, I didn't realize the numbers were that high. I mean, I've seen a few videos of these robots, but I didn't think they were scaling up that fast. What's driving this boom?
Well, it's all about efficiency and convenience. These robots are designed to deliver groceries, fast food, and other goods while cutting down on traffic and emissions. Companies are pitching them as the future of urban delivery, but as you can imagine, not everyone is thrilled about sharing their sidewalks with machines.
Yeah, I can see how that might get complicated. Sidewalks are already crowded in most cities, and now we're adding robots into the mix. What's been the public reaction so far?
It's been mixed, to say the least. Take John Roberts, a Chicago resident, for example. When he first saw one of these robots, he thought it was kind of cool, futuristic even. But then during a walk with his family, they found themselves dodging the robot on the sidewalk. That's when he started to question what it would be like if these machines became a regular part of city life.
That's such a relatable moment. I mean, sidewalks are supposed to be for people, right? Families, kids, elderly folks, just anyone trying to get around. Having to step aside for a robot would definitely feel off.
Exactly, and Roberts isn't alone in feeling that way. He's actually started a petition to suspend the use of these robots across all of Chicago until proper safety tests are conducted and clear rules are set. So far, he's gathered around 4,400 signatures, which shows there's a lot of concern out there.
That's a pretty strong response. What are people most worried about? Is it just the inconvenience? Or are there bigger safety concerns?
It's both. People have reported having to step into the street to avoid these robots, which is obviously dangerous. There have also been reports of collisions and injuries. One person was even hit by a robot safety flag, which is ironic considering it's supposed to make the robot safer. And then there are issues with robots blocking emergency vehicles or acting erratically at crosswalks.
Oh, that's definitely more serious than I thought. Are cities doing anything to address these concerns?
Some are. San Francisco, for example, has restricted these robots to less busy parts of the city. Toronto has gone even further, banning them from sidewalks entirely since 2021. And in Glendale, California, the local council is considering a temporary ban after robots started appearing without any warning.
Wait, they just showed up one day? That's kind of alarming. Did the city even know which company was behind them?
Apparently not, and that's part of the problem. Glendale Council member Ardy Kasakian mentioned that the robots raised questions about accessibility, pedestrian movement, and even the broader impact on public spaces. He's seen situations where robots have caused standoffs with elderly pedestrians or broken down and blocked narrow sidewalks.
That sounds like a logistical nightmare. Are there any efforts to regulate these robots more effectively?
Yes, Kasakian is pushing for a regulated approach. He's talking about setting operating rules, insurance requirements, accessibility standards, and even permitting fees. The idea is to create a framework that ensures these robots can coexist with pedestrians safely and responsibly.
That makes sense. But what about the impact on jobs? I imagine delivery drivers must be worried about being replaced by these robots.
That's a huge concern, especially in places like the UK. The Independent Workers' Union of Great Britain has already raised alarms about how these robots could displace workers. Alex Marshall, the union's president, even said that communities could end up fighting for their lives against these machines. It's a stark warning about the human cost of automation.
That's a tough balance to strike. On one hand, you have the promise of efficiency and reduced emissions. On the other, you have people losing their livelihoods. Are there any examples of communities pushing back against these robots?
Definitely. In Sheffield, UK, there have been reports of Uber Eats robots being vandalized. It seems like a mix of frustration and fear about what these machines represent. And while companies like Starship Technologies argue that their robots are friendly and polite, not everyone is buying it.
It sounds like there's a real disconnect between how these companies see their robots and how the public perceives them. Are there any predictions about where this is all headed?
Analysts are predicting a major boom in the coming years. By 2034, there could be over 2 million delivery robots operating worldwide. That's a staggering number, and it raises big questions about how cities will adapt to this new reality.
That's a lot of robots. Are there any countries that are handling this better than others?
Some countries like South Korea and Japan have taken a more liberal approach to these robots. They're embracing the technology and figuring out how to integrate it into urban life. But in places like the US and Canada, the approach has been more cautious, with cities imposing restrictions or outright bans.
It sounds like there's no one-size-fits-all solution here. What's the takeaway for cities trying to navigate this?
The key is regulation. Cities need to set clear rules and standards for how these robots operate, from safety requirements to accessibility standards. At the same time, they need to consider the broader social and economic impacts like job displacement and public perception.
That's a lot to think about, but I guess it all comes down to finding a balance between innovation and the needs of the community.
Exactly. As John Roberts put it, even if none of us can stop the future, we can at least choose which future we move into. It's about making deliberate choices to ensure that technology serves people, not the other way around.
Well, that's a powerful note to end on. This has been such an eye-opening discussion, and I'm curious to see how this all evolves in the coming years.
Me too. Thanks for tuning in, and we'll see you next time.
Welcome back to Pixelated Perspectives, everyone. I'm Emma Johnson, your friendly tech reviewer, and today we're diving into something truly fascinating: the power of mystery in video games. Marcus, you know how often we talk about new releases and all the hype, but sometimes don't you feel like we know too much before we even press start?
Absolutely, Emma. As a news anchor, I'm all about getting information out, but even I appreciate the magic of discovery. We recently saw a compelling piece, the Lucas Tribune feature, The Magic of Mystery, which highlighted this perfectly, especially with the talk of an Ocarina of Time remake. It argues that in an age of endless reveals and spoilers, showing almost nothing can be the most powerful marketing strategy. It's a bold idea, suggesting that some adventures are best experienced when you trust the unknown.
Exactly. That PDF really hit home. It posits that players remember Ocarina of Time because it encouraged genuine discovery, making every dungeon, melody, and character encounter feel earned. And the core message is that a remake should absolutely preserve that spirit. Today, we're not just discussing it. We're going to explore how to translate this philosophy into something tangible, a captivating radio ad for a hypothetical new game that champions this very idea of mystery.
An intriguing challenge. How do you sell the unknown? That Tribune feature emphasizes that the greatest adventures ask us to trust the unknown, and Ocarina of Time was precisely one of those. It wasn't about flashy trailers revealing boss mechanics. It was about the thrill of stumbling upon a secret grotto, solving a cryptic puzzle without a guide, or the emotional impact of a story beat because you experienced it firsthand. This isn't just nostalgia. It's a fundamental aspect of what makes certain games iconic.
I totally agree, Marcus. Modern gaming often falls into the trap of over-explaining. We get detailed skill trees, expansive maps filled with icons, and quest markers galore. While convenient, it sometimes strips away the joy of organic exploration. The PDF reminds us that the feeling of accomplishment from figuring something out yourself, from truly earning that next step, is unparalleled. It's about respecting the player's intelligence and their capacity for wonder.
So if we're designing a game or a remake that embodies this, like the conceptual Athelcard Chronicles we'll discuss, the marketing needs to reflect that. It can't just be about showing off graphics. It needs to evoke that sense of impending discovery. The ad should hint at grandiosity without giving away the grand tour. It's a delicate balance, aiming to intrigue without informing too much.
And that's where the magic and the challenge of a radio ad comes in. No visuals means we rely entirely on sound and imagination. So we've established why mystery is crucial. Now, let's tackle the paradox. How do you market something by revealing less? In an industry where publishers typically dump trailers, gameplay demos, and detailed developer diaries months before launch, going against that grain feels almost radical. But the Magic of Mystery article suggests this counterintuitive approach could be the most powerful marketing strategy of all.
It certainly feels counterintuitive.
In a saturated market, every company vies for attention by showcasing their best assets. But think about the impact of a truly cryptic teaser, one that leaves you with more questions than answers. It breeds speculation, generates discussion, and builds an organic community around shared curiosity. This could be particularly effective for a game like our Ethelgard Chronicles, which is designed around discovery.
Exactly. Instead of a bullet point list of features, we're selling a feeling. We're selling the promise of an adventure where you are the primary driver of discovery, not just a passenger being led through a linear experience. For a radio ad, this means our language needs to be incredibly evocative, using sounds and phrases that paint a vivid picture in the listener's mind without spoon-feeding them plot points or character designs. It's about igniting that spark of wonder.
It requires a lot of trust from the developers to let the players discover their creations, and from the marketers to trust the audience's imagination. All right, let's transition into the practical application, creating that radio ad script for Ethelgard Chronicles, our hypothetical game that embodies the spirit of discovery. The first component is an attention-grabbing opening hook. How do we immediately seize the listener's imagination through audio alone, without visuals to lean on?
For our ad, we need something atmospheric and intriguing. Imagine this: a distant, haunting melody, perhaps a lone flute or an echoing chime, then a voiceover, deep and resonant, asking a direct, thought-provoking question that speaks to the listener's sense of adventure. Maybe something like, "Tired of knowing every twist before the journey even begins?" This instantly resonates with the problem we discussed.
That's excellent, Emma. It taps into a shared frustration. Following that, we need to introduce the product or service name and its primary benefit. For Ethelgard Chronicles, our game designed to bring back genuine discovery, how would you phrase that introduction to tie back to the hook?
I'd go with something that clearly positions Ethelgard Chronicles as the solution. Then prepare for Ethelgard Chronicles, the epic adventure where every secret is yours to uncover. The name itself, Ethelgard, sounds ancient and mysterious, reinforcing the theme. And the benefit is clear: true, unadulterated discovery. We're selling an experience, not just a game. Moving on, our radio ad needs to highlight 2 to 3 appealing key features. But remembering our mystery-first approach, we can't be too explicit. Instead, we should hint at the types of experiences players will have. For Ethelgard Chronicles, I'd suggest focusing on immersive world-building, challenging puzzles, and meaningful character interactions, all without giving away specific plot points.
So, for instance, instead of saying, "Explore the Fire Temple and defeat Volvantia," we might say, "Forge your own path through ancient lands, where forgotten secrets whisper from the ruins, and every encounter feels like a discovery." That creates a mental image without spoiling the actual content. What about addressing the common issue of spoilers?
Precisely. We can directly counter the modern gaming dilemma. After hinting at features, the voiceover could state, "No guides, no spoilers, just pure, unadulterated adventure." Ethelgard Chronicles respects your journey, inviting you to earn every triumph, every revelation. This directly addresses the problem highlighted in the Lucas Tribune feature and positions our game as the antidote to over-revealed narratives. It's a powerful appeal to players yearning for that classic sense of achievement.
That's a strong differentiator. It tells the listener exactly what the game isn't, which in this context is just as important as what it is. It promises a return to an older, more cherished style of gameplay. Now for the critical components: creating time sensitivity and delivering a clear, memorable call to action. How do we compel listeners to act immediately for Ethelgard Chronicles, especially with an ad that relies on subtlety?
Time sensitivity can be created by hinting at a limited time opportunity, perhaps for early access or a special launch bonus. Something like, "Be among the first to experience true discovery. Pre-order Ethelgard Chronicles now and unlock an exclusive in-game relic of the unknown." The relic of the unknown keeps with our mystery theme. Then, the call to action needs to be punchy and repeated.
And repetition is key for radio, as listeners might be distracted. What's our memorable CTA?
I'd say visit ethelgardchronicles.com today to begin your journey. That's ethelgardchronicles.com, where the greatest adventures are yet to be revealed. The repetition ensures the website sticks, and the tagline reinforces the core message. We also need to think about sound-friendly elements throughout. The ad could have subtle ambient sound effects, distant echoing calls of a mythical creature, the rustle of leaves, the clang of an ancient puzzle mechanism. These elements, combined with vivid descriptive language, paint the picture that visuals normally would. The overall tone needs to build momentum, leading to that exciting call to action.
Perfect. It ensures the brand name and the unique selling proposition are unforgettable. This approach truly leverages the strength of audio to foster imagination and intrigue.
We've built a solid framework for a radio ad that champions the magic of mystery, inspired by the spirit of Ocarina of Time and the Lucas Tribune feature. But one radio ad isn't a whole campaign. Marcus, how do you think this mystery-first approach extends beyond the airwaves to other marketing channels? How do we sustain that intrigue?
That's an excellent point, Emma. For a game like Aethelgard Chronicles, this philosophy needs to permeate everything. Online, instead of lengthy gameplay trailers, we might see very short cryptic cinematics that pose more questions than they answer. Social media engagement would focus on community theories and fan speculation, encouraging players to piece together hints, almost like an ARG, an alternate reality game, even before launch.
I love that idea. Imagine a series of enigmatic messages or ancient glyphs released over time, sparking dialogue among players. Even the game's website could be designed with hidden pathways or obscure lore fragments, rewarding those who truly explore. It's about making the marketing itself an extension of the game's core gameplay loop, discovery.
Exactly. Every touchpoint should reinforce the idea that Aethelgard Chronicles is an experience you earn. It's not handed to you. This integrated approach not only builds immense anticipation, but also creates a dedicated, engaged community eager to unravel its secrets. It's a powerful testament to the idea that in a world of oversharing, sometimes the most captivating story is the one left untold.
A truly refreshing take.
Made in Georgia.
We bring in good energy.
This has been Coffee Talk, presented by Spotify. From our cast, we thank you for listening.
Yeah.